we're just talking about how we thought Puka Nacua wasn't as tall as he is, and he's actually 6'2", which we did not think. We thought he was more like, what, 5'11", 5'10",
I thought it was
5'11"?
5'10". He just moves like a 5'10" guy, Dang, they're just so nimble, athletic,
Right.
on their tiptoes all the time. If I'm
I
on
don't
my tiptoes
know.
that much, I'm tearing an ACL or something.
Oof. I mean, we'll talk about not feeling athletic in your mid to late 30s later, but
I know.
who looked athletic out there? The Seahawks. The Seahawks came out week 14, and this was a different game feeling for us fans. I think, we're usually stressed. We usually have high blood pressure. We're usually sweating the entire game. But it was nice to see the Seahawks come out starting the first quarter and playing hard. And with that, we won 30-18 against our division rivals, the Cardinals. We beat them 2-0 this year in the division, which is so sweet and so great and so needed, especially if this NFC West race is insane. But we're still at the top. We are still at the top. Let's just take a moment to shout out everybody I just feel like the Seahawks are finally coming together, and you can just see the continuity on the field, and then you can just see it. It just is making sense, and I think that things are finally starting to figure itself out. I mean, yeah, that's all
Yeah,
I gotta
absolutely.
say.
We've kind of said it from the beginning. We saw glimmers of hope on both offense, defense, the schemes, certain individuals. But, even the games we won 3-0 in the beginning, obviously you'll take wins, but those, as entertaining as those were kind of sloppy wins all over the place,
Right.
But we said it throughout the season, even when we had our losing streak before we went into that bye, that sometimes when you have new everything, new coaching, new schemes, new players, it takes time. It takes times for everything to click. And that is what we are seeing right now, coming out of the bye undefeated. And yeah, I was talking, for those of you listening right now, I was talking to Alex and Money Mike. I was like, I'm pulling up comments, videos on my phone. Should I blast these fools on right now and pull receipts? I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling at the end of the show. People that said some of the shit I was saying about our team is the coldest take ever. Yeah, we'll see about that. But anyways, sorry. All right. Here we go. Keep it positive.
Offense. Okay, we're starting off 7. We're 7-5 now. Congratulations, Seahawks. Love to see a 4-game winning streak coming out of the bye week. Offense. I know you have some comments. Let's hear it, Josiah.
Yeah, 8-5.
Sorry, 8-5. Are we 8? Yeah, 8-5. My bad. Yeah, we're 8-5. Sorry, guys.
My notes are wrong. I think first shout out goes to Ryan Grubb. That's my one of the game balls. If I had a game ball, I would give it to him. It was probably, in my opinion, the best game he ever called. Most complete game, most methodical game, and actually effective. There were times where in the past, he felt the pressure to run, and he would run it a few times, and then right back to the pass heavy offense for the rest of the game. But he stuck to it. You could tell there was some major shifts on the O-line this week because they were clicking on all cylinders. And I mean, when the O-line is playing well in the trenches, who will get my next shout out is the O-line for not giving up any sacks, getting some good push up front. Like when the O-line is doing their thing, it just makes life for every position on the offense easy. Running backs, quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, everything. So obviously I can show love to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Zach Charbonnet took full advantage of the limelight while he had it. Even K-Mac had, a 6-yard average. I mean, everybody just balled out, but none of that would have happened without the proper play calling or gameplay from the O-line. So those are my two shouts. And remember how we were talking about rookie guard Laumea last week? Balled out this week. I seen him pancake hella fools this game. It was like, oh man. And some of those plays, Zach sprinting for like 10 plus yards. I was watching him all game. He balled out. So
crazy. And we've talked about that all season long. The O-line, if they got their shit together, if they figured it out, it's going to open up the gates for other opportunities for our other players. Charbonnet went off. 22 carries, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. His runs were insane. He just looked like a beast out there. He looked like he was in full control. And there were also moments too where he would slow down, and the commentators were talking about this a lot. Like, if you're able to slow down and just kind of read it and then transition, it made such a big difference. When like sometimes people will look at him and be like, move, but he's not going one speed, so he can actually stop and then change direction as well too. So that was really fun to see as well.
1,000%. You know, the three of us, Alex and Money Mike and I, were talking. Do we think Zach Charbonnet was going to be able to hold it down without K9? And I was like, I was feeling very confident. I said 1,000%. And it's not that he's better. I 1,000% also believe Kenneth Walker's a much better overall running back. It's just the only difference was with the type of offense we're running. The zone scheming, it takes where the O-line's on a track up to the linebackers this way, that way. The running back has to be very patient. And with how explosive K9 is, sometimes he gets going before the block's set up. So I think Zach, just being naturally I don't want to say slower, but yeah, slower than K9, his speed, and just being patient as well, letting the blocks develop. Right when you see the crease, you see him going sideways, he just boom, cuts it up the middle and just hits it hard. Yeah.
Right. So. Maybe patient is a better word for it, because it's not that he's slow, but he's just patient and waits for things to settle in. Right. So yeah. And you can see it, like, it's clear when you watch it, and it's great because if you're patient, it opens up opportunities, and he just took advantage, full advantage of them.
You see what other teams, even the Niners, you know, their O-line does very well. And no matter who it is, CMC, you know, Jordan Mason, and even their third running back, who I can never get his name right. He was balling, and it's just the O-line makes everything easier, which leads me to my next point. We were talking about this. I want to know what you guys think in the comment, and keep it a buck on this one. But as much as I love Kenneth Walker III, in my opinion, since Marshawn, he's the best running back. I did love Chris Carson before he got hurt, but Kenneth Walker, I love this guy. Now, that being said, with what you can see, if the offense trends this way, you got Sharp, you got K-Mac in the back, Kenny McIntosh. Would you consider putting Kenneth Walker III on the block for a couple picks, high round picks? Maybe a couple players. Who knows? What do you think on that? I thought that during the game. I was like, dang, do we need K9? We got a lot of running backs, you know.
Especially as we're starting to see us develop now. Right. I mean, it's not a terrible question. It's an honest business question too. Sort of say, like, if we're trying to think about the future of the Seahawks, and we're trying to think of, okay, we have a new set of coaches, we have a lot of young players, like, how can we essentially continue to grow? And do we need all these running backs? Do we need, you know? So, I mean, legit question. Let us know what you guys think. That's a great question.
I know. I was struggling with that.
All of y'all are spinning up here. I can tell. All y'all are spinning up here. Okay, but let's give our offense an overall grade. I mean,
I will give the offense this week an A-. The reason the minus is there,
I love it. I agree.
Is because they played quite flawlessly, in my opinion. The 0 sacks giving up 0 sacks is hard to do. The one thing that just we got to break the curse. It's all. Just break the curse is not being able to score a touchdown on the opening drive. We have the second longest streak in the NFL with the most consecutive games without a touchdown in the first drive. A touchdown. I think we got 3 points, but a touchdown is what I want.
Right. Transitioning into that comment, I feel like our defense always gives up a touchdown in the first drive. So now we'll go to defense.
Yeah.
Even though they did give up that first defense, right? Even though they did give up a touchdown in the first drive, Our defense was so fun to watch. They were flying around. The energy, they were just so hyped. And you can just, I don't know, something clicked in our defense. And I know we had this question a couple weeks ago, and we questioned that if this is a championship defense. So we'll get to that later once we kind of break it down a little bit. But they were active, they were scrappy, they were putting so much pressure on Kyler Murray. Oh my God, the picks in the first quarter, wild, great, so good. Oh my
Funny
God.
story. I'm gonna take a second right here. So earlier this year, when we were struggling, it's so easy when we're in a 3-game losing streak to be like, "Oh my God, we should have got John Harbaugh. We should have never fired Pete Carroll, even though I'm one of the motherfuckers that said fire Pete Carroll." All this stuff. It's so easy to point fingers. And I remember, you just have to weather the storm in this type of. It's not even a rebuild. That's what people got to understand. This team was never a rebuild team. It's just a transition. And so in this transition, it takes time for things to click. Now, while we were losing, and I know if to the untrained eye, it's easy. Maybe you don't see this, but there's a lot of people who have watched football, been in the game a long time. There's something there. There's players, there's coaches who have the resume. The scheme is there, but what is missing? It's just time and how cohesive everybody plays together. And I said there was one podcast I was watching a while back in that losing streak, and I remember I commented on their live chat where I said, "Yo, if we stop the run, stopping the run fixes everything." Okay, and the reason being is because if you stop the run, we have an offense. Remember, that can do just enough. Geno can score. If you're doing just enough on offense, that's a good recipe. While we're winning now because we're scoring and stopping the run, they're forced to play from behind. When the quarterback is playing from behind on the opposing team, what do they have to do now that they're playing from behind? They have to throw the ball. When you're throwing the ball, what does that do with our defense? Our defensive ends, our defensive linemen, they pin their ears back, and it's just a free-for-all for sacks. Who can get the most sacks now? This is one of my favorite parts of the game. If we're ever playing with a lead on defense, is like, oh, they're going to be throwing first, second, third down. It's a free-for-all. Get your sacks up right now. When you're getting sacks or getting pressure, they throw picks. There's fumbles. And it's like all of these things start to come to fruition once we stop the run game. And I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told some of y'all so. Okay. And yeah. And who am I? What do I know? I'm just some freaking football guy that works for Travel and Leisure. Who knows? I don't know. But
nice plug. But you're right. I mean, yeah, people are so quick to say we should have done this, we should have got this person, when it's like 3 games lost in a whole entire season, when it was the beginning of the season too. And I think it takes time. Good things don't happen overnight. Great teams aren't built overnight, or not even like in the first like half of a season. But I think now once we start seeing what's happening with the Seahawks and how things are just coming together finally, it's so nice to see, and makes me just happy. And we're seeing our players are buying into the culture as well too. We talk about this all the time, right? The players are buying in. They're getting picks. We're scoring off these picks, and it's crazy and it's amazing.
Let me ask you this. You remember how Pete Carroll's culture was it always compete, always compete. So I mean, anybody can lose their job as long as you're competing. It brings out the best in everybody. The culture here, I don't know if it's always compete. It's either do your job or your ass is getting cut. That's what I feel like it is right now. I mean, we've seen it right after the bye. Linebackers are getting traded. Linebackers getting dropped.
I mean, we saw it like last couple weeks when the special teams guys were dropping the balls.
Yep. So, which, hey, if that's what it is, then shoot, I'm not going to complain right now. But yeah, I think the biggest thing though, for me, now that they're all playing together, this is one thing that you can't really coach right here. You can coach schemes, you can coach doing your jobs, but the attitude, the effort, the culture, the nastiness. I don't know how many times I said last year to KJ and G that like I don't see no dogs out there. There's some really good athletes, but I don't see anybody who's like out to kill somebody. And remember how last week after the game and Leo Williams had his career game, I said that he is looking like he's pissed off, like he's angry. He's playing, trying to with a chip on his shoulder. I don't know who he's trying to show out for, but now it's like spreading. It is spreading. And then one of the biggest statements I think for this defense was at the end of the game. In my opinion, it was pretty much over. Arizona had the ball, and less than 30 seconds left. They're on the 8-yard line trying to score, and our defense, they could have easily just given up a touchdown and said, "Well, we already got this one in the bag." No, these motherfuckers are like, "You ain't getting no touchdowns. We gave up those 2 early on. This is it." And how did they end the game? With a nice little sack, to kill the clock. That was it, man. That's a statement right there, So
that is a statement. I think that's something we've been missing all season long. It's like we haven't started playing the first quarter. Sometimes we don't play the fourth quarter. It's like everything was in between, but now they're playing every single quarter. And I think they're taking a lot more pride into that too. And you can just tell on the field, and they're working more together as a team. I think, like you said, I think when Leonard Williams went off, I think that was kind of the start of it trickling down to other players as well, and it's showing a lot on the field.
And it could be little things like, early on, I've been one of the biggest fans of Kobe Bryant since, last year, and coming into this preseason, I'm like, man, he was hungry in the preseason. I was like, just wait till this kid gets a chance, and he hasn't looked back. Now he's in the starting rotation, and it's one of those things where early on he got beaten on a deep corner route in the end zone. And, someone could hang their head and continue to give up plays. What happened? This boy comes back and gets an interception. It's like, okay, let me make up for that touchdown. Boom, pick.
Right.
So like that type of resiliency and like back against the wall pit bull mentality, that's the shit that's really shaping them out to look like a championship caliber defense, in my opinion. So,
ooh, yes. And that was the question I wanted to revisit, because that's the question that made me think about when I was watching the game yesterday. I was like, this defense.
Yeah. Last week you said, is this a championship caliber defense? I said, these 3 weeks, so far they look like it. Let me watch week 4 and I'll come back to you. After week 4, 1000%. This is like championship style defense, and they're hitting on all cylinders right at the right. They're starting to peak at the right time. And the scary part is Chen is back now. Like, where the hell do we plug him into? He's like, that's another weapon. Like, pick your poison. What side of the line you want to be on? I don't. It's just crazy, man. Right when you think you start Boye, stop Hall, Derek Hall. I almost said Derek Ball. Derek Hall. Now you got to worry about Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed. They're just stacked right now. And then here comes Chenna now. Man, just weapon after weapon. It's a nightmare for quarters this second half of the season. So,
yeah, I'm loving our defense right now. Love the D. And it's just exciting to watch, honestly.
You know what? Let's just all show love on the D right now.
Yeah, show that love. I need to ask my dad. I haven't talked to him about it yet, but I need to ask him and his thoughts about the defense, because I'm pretty sure he's excited about it. But
I bet your dad, being a defensive-minded person, would probably agree with this. If you remember back to 2011, 12, 13, there was not one weak defensive player. Everyone there, you were calling somebody's name, from Chris Clemens, holy smokes, Chris Clemens, Tony McDaniel, Brandon Meebane, Red Bryant. Then here comes Cliff Averill. Here comes Michael Bennett. Now Bruce Irvin. Like just all stars, and that's what our O-line. Not saying that this is them, but everybody's getting their name called every week since that bye week. I love it.
Oof, I love that too. That just gave me the chills. I love it. All right, defensive grade. What do you give it?
Oh, 1000% an A.
I love it.
I give them an A. They gave up 2 touchdowns, but I think there's a stat floating around there. If you can hold another team to less than 17.5 points, your chances of winning the game are pretty damn high. And so they did their thing,
They did their thing.
So
And also, too, I want to shout out our offense because we came around after each pick and we scored. I think we scored 17 points in the first quarter. We never do
yeah,
that. And so that was also awesome to see as well.
yeah. So
Whew.
and it's like I feel it's like haha, we were there last year, but there was a time where we played Baltimore last year. And it's crazy that Coach McDonald said this because it's exactly what it looked like. He wants the defense to look like there's always 12 men on the field,
Mhm.
you know? And so you don't know who's coming. You don't know who's dropping back in coverage. Or even if you do know who's dropping back in coverage, I don't know if you saw Ernest Jones' interception.
Mhm.
Dude was like stepping back to his right side
Right.
and dropping back to his mid zone right there, flips the hips. His guy leaves the zone, turns back to his second read, flips the quarter, center field turns back this way. Blip. Oh my. I was like, dude, Kyler Murray was like, no, no, no,
You
no. It was
know,
the funniest shit ever,
he
man.
was.
He's such a little,
Uh,
he seems
yeah.
like, I love watching him. Freak athlete, but he looks like a big baby sometimes. Literally a big ass baby running around like Fred Flintstone. Sonic the
Yeah.
Hedgehog. His feet always just going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no comment on that. Before we get into like other NFL games, we're just gonna hop into like the NFC West because we only have 4 games left in the regular season. The last game of every single NFC West team, we're all playing each other. The Week 18 matchups are huge, and we are playing the Rams on Week 18. Probably, I don't want to jinx, but most likely for the division crown because we'll talk about the Rams in a little bit as well. But I mean,
Hold on now. Hold on. That's assuming they win out. Okay. They got to win out.
okay.
Okay.
So we're just saying, I mean, you're right. They do have to win out. But I mean,
Now, I know what you mean. It's
yeah,
still anybody's. I mean, we could not, we won't, but teams, when it's this tight, the top two teams can lose out, and then the bottom team could be right back at first, just like it's been flip flopping all season. You know, it could happen just like that. The
right. And a lot
Niners
can
look really
happen.
powerful this week. Yeah. So, I mean, they look like they were a good top contender of the divisions again. Too bad they're playing way, way from behind. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. I mean,
But yeah,
let's
it's.
just,
I think I feel good. I feel good. They're tough teams
yeah.
we're playing against. What are we home against Green Bay?
It's a
Is
primetime
it
game,
is it
Sunday Night Football.
is it crazy that I almost want to play away now? Like, because we do very well on the road. It's crazy.
We are
Um,
balling out on the road, which is, yeah, we're usually a home field team, but no, I feel the same way. So we got Packers home, Vikings home, Bears, Rams away.
I feel very good against this last four stretch. This might be being optimistic right here.
Mhm.
Optimistic.
Word.
Yeah, awesomeistic. Uh, I think we can win Green Bay at home. They are a great team,
Mhm.
but I see holes in their team, you know,
Mhm.
and where those holes are, we're starting to catch our stride and gel immensely where their holes are. So it's going to be a matchup issue for them. I think so. So the next game would be who did you say?
Vikings.
Uh, whew,
I
damn, Jay
know.
Jettis, man. God damn. Here's my thing is this. Hey, put pressure on freaking Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold,
You
yep.
know, this is he's having not just a
Whew.
career season, but a top 5 quarterback type of season too. He's
Wild.
balling, but he's never played towards the end of the season. You know, it's one of those things where our D line, we put pressure on him, we stop the run, and we
Right.
try to put the locks on Jay Jettas. Man, it's now the key word there's try. That's easier said than done on paper, but I think I think we match up. I think we also match up very well against them, and I like us against them. I
Mhm.
think Caleb Williams is going to smack us around in Chicago. It's like I think that should be a win. So that's 3, I believe, that we could win. If there was going to be a loss there, I'm not even saying we're going to lose. If there was going to be a loss there, it would probably be against the Rams in LA. They are a very good team. I don't care where they are in the division. They are a freaking any McVay team is a scary team. So I never sleep on them.
Right. Yeah, and they got Puka. Like we said at the beginning, we thought he was a lot smaller, but he's so athletic. And then the one he stands next to his QB. It's like,
Isn't it crazy that we could say Puka, and as amazing as he is, it's almost like people almost, I didn't say people forget about Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup is still Cooper Cup. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
right.
2 assassins that they have as their receivers. They're really good. But
Right.
funny thing though, when we're talking about, you and I, our takes throughout the season, I remember in the beginning of the season, you and I were talking about like prediction of how this season could look as far as record goes. As you know, we were 9-7 the last 2 seasons. For those of you who were really disgusted that we were 9-7, and one of those times where we were in the playoffs, I don't even know what to say to y'all idiots anymore. But if we win 4 and if we win 3-1, okay, the last 4 games we go 3-1, that finishes our record at what?
11-6.
And remember when you and I were talking, it was very optimistic at the beginning, still way too early, but it legitimately looks like when we said this team, KJ thinks this team looks like they could be a 10-7 team. And I was like, yo, I might go as far as saying they could potentially be an 11-win team. And if they win 3 out of the next 4, 11-6, that ain't too shabby at all. And a first-year coach's team, man. So very exciting.
Right. Look at us. Look at us. Look at us.
Man, pay us, man. You sign us. NFL Network, ESPN, Good Morning, whatever, man. Good Morning Football. Sometimes, yeah. Anyways, their shows are just fun to watch. Some of those guys are idiots too, I think. They're just very entertaining. I do love their takes.
It is all about the entertainment in this world nowadays anyways. But anyways, the next 4 weeks are going to be super crucial, especially for the NFC West all around. Sorry, I had to burp. We're talking about
right when you said that, I could smell something weird too. So that was kind of weird.
It's not we're not in the same place, so you better check yourself. Yesterday I had a crazy Rams and Bills game. Speaking of the Rams, it was the first game in NFL history where both teams scored at least 40 points and had 0 turnovers.
That's crazy.
It was like the highest scoring game ever, but no turnovers. And
that's like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Like, not saying that we can compare these guys to them. When we have quarterbacks like that who are just Hall of Fame caliber careers potential,
against one another,
those guys, they just throw points and carve each other's defenses apart. Man, that's what happened. I'm not surprised. Matt Stafford, even when he was with Detroit and they were sorry, I was like, any team that has Matt Stafford is just, they always have a chance because that fool can throw up numbers, man. Whether he's throwing to Puka and Cooper or he's throwing to Megatron, he's always been dangerous, So
crazy. And speaking of quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes came out with another win against the Chargers because their kicker hit the upright in the right spot. But I mean, oh gosh, every time you play the Chiefs, right? It's like you're playing against the refs as well. There were so many questionable calls, so many missed calls. It was kind of hard to watch, honestly. But
it's just like obvious now. Like, I don't like to say that stuff. I don't like to put the games in refs' hands, but it's just obvious right now. When you hear some of these retired referees coming out and saying, oh yeah, we definitely did some shady shit back in the days, I'm like, it's just blatant, man. I was like, are you kidding me? Some of those calls, and I don't get me wrong, I love watching Patrick Mahomes, but shit, and I love Andy Reid, but god damn those, I'm not gonna say it's rigged, but I don't know how else to say it.
It's like they just let it go. Like, oh, false. He didn't false start. He didn't hold. He didn't do any of that. We're just gonna let it go. Whoops.
I'm like, am I tripping, or is this tackle look like he's getting off the ball before the ball's even snapped every single time, it seems like.
Every time. Every time. Who are we? We're not referees. We're just
guys, Joe
fans.
Schmoes.
We're
Yeah.
just fans out here.
Hey, you know what though? We're just fans in the first year of doing this show that some of our takes have been pretty spot on. I'm just gonna say that, we've done okay with some of our takes on Seattle, our boys in blue. So
but I'm also pretty proud of our guys too, because nobody's pooped their pants either. Remember when we talked about pooping their pants? So shout out to the Seahawks for not pooping your
figuratively
pants.
and literally, you
Yeah,
didn't shit your pants. I guess I
right.
was thinking more so shit the bed. Actually, no, they've all shown out and not
Yeah,
shit their
and we'd love
pants.
to see it. So Packers primetime game Sunday night. I feel like we're always a primetime game when we play the Packers. It's always.
I always go right back to the Fail Mary. That was a very fun
Oh
game.
my! I know.
It's the first thing that comes to my mind. So many
That's
games happened when I was in a bar. I was in Burien during that play, watching the game at McKelly's Irish Pub, right there on 153rd, I believe.
nice.
But yeah, everybody just going wild. I remember I was in the Silver Cloud Hotels bar right there across the street from Safeco Field when Marshawn
Right.
ran his run, the Beastquake. Yeah, a lot of great freaking
The hold my dick
primetime
run.
plays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, those are
Okay.
good days. I hope there's many good days to come ahead of us, man.
I feel like there is. I'm getting
like
excited because
historic plays.
uh-huh. I think so. I think when it comes to our defense and we're talking about are they becoming a championship caliber defense, I think for myself, as I'm watching them on the field and as I'm watching them just continue to improve and get better, I get really excited because that's kind of the thoughts that I'm like leaning towards is that they're going to be creating all these crazy historical moments that we remember as fans and remember where we were exactly. I think that's like the fun part of being a fan, right? It's like music. You always remember if a certain song comes on, you're like, oh, I was here when I heard it. I was with these people. Same thing with sports, right? Any kind of a
Mhm.
moment you remember, it just brings back that feeling of excitement. And you can't create that
Yeah.
feeling anywhere else. That's the
What
fun thing about sports.
if you think back over the last 4 years, we'll say 4 years, okay?
Mhm.
What's the most historic play, if you want, or recognized play nationally across the league that comes to mind? Because I can only think of one where it got national publicity and still gets replayed sometimes.
Oh, I don't know if it's like 4 years, but definitely the Beastquake run. That comes to my mind because you still see it all over TikTok in his interviews too when he's
Mhm.
talking about it.
No, more that's one. That's for that's
That's
of all
that's what
time.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what comes to my mind. I don't know years. I don't know. You
Like
tell me
towards
yours.
the end of Carroll's era and this year. So like maybe the last 2 or 3 years. In my opinion, we don't have very many
Right.
historic plays with this era, this generation, but the one that comes to mind that I just right out there is DK chasing down Buddha
Oh,
Baker.
yeah.
Like I was like, that play was dope as hell, but we need more plays like that. We don't have very many like
Right.
uh iconic plays across the NFL like that. So
We need more Sports Center top 10 plays, please. Thank you, Seahawks.
that's what it is. That's what it is. Like
Yeah.
Odell's one-handed grab with the fingertips, like stuff like that. It'll just go down in history forever.
Because as a kid too, that's what you watched every single night before you went to bed. Sports Center top 10. Did you not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hell
Exactly. We
yeah.
need to bring that back. People don't be watching that anymore like we
Mm-hmm.
used to, but Seahawks, let's get on it every weekend. That's your goal.
Be iconic. There you
Be
go.
iconic, but we love it. We love the growth. We love what the Seahawks have created over the last 14 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Going into week 15, big game against the Packers. I'm ready
Hey,
for it
you didn't
though.
answer my question. You kind of snuck away with this. You didn't answer this. Would you trade K9?
I don't think it's a bad idea, especially with the caliber of guys that we have right now, and we need. I mean, we're not a perfect team right now, and I think we know where our weak points are and our weak spots are. So it would be nice to actually kind of.
Yeah. Like I said, don't get me wrong. He's in my opinion top 4 running backs in the NFL, and I would shop him. I would see what are people going to offer for him. So I think we lost Higa. Anyways, if we lost Higa, her Wi-Fi was kind of acting up a little bit. We'll wrap it up right here. Thank you guys for all the support. Shout out to you guys, man. I'm really excited to see the last 4 games of this season. But you know what? We'll do it traditionally where we go 1-0 for the next 4 weeks, win one at a time. There she is.
Are we back?
There she is.
Oh my gosh. I was like, where did I go? I froze and then I was like moving like super slow. I think that's just a sign that you don't need to answer that question.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have because I said
fucked up our internet.
We broke the internet with that question. Oh my god.
Oh my
god.
I
said I don't know that I would trade him. I would definitely dangle him as bait and see what people would offer him, just to see. Something agreed maybe, but
yeah.
Yeah.
You never know.
Anyways. What about Gino? Do we sign Gino? Has Gino earned an extension?
As of now, don't ask me hard questions.
What does your gut say?
Honestly, I'm really hungry right now, but
Nice deflection. I'll answer this one. We need to sign Gino's ass right away, man. Right away.
I think he's proving himself right now, and he's keeping his hair on point, which I appreciate. I know we've talked about this before, and I talked about it last year with KJ. Like, his hair needs to stay on point, and it's been looking better. So I think that's, look good, feel good when you play. So
yes, sir.
I agree.
One last little thing that I noticed too, because I know you love this, but I said it a few weeks ago. I'm like, I've never been into the pregame fashion stuff. I was like, part of me wishes our guys would not be so wrapped up in what they wear and just show up to play. I'm just going to say this. The past 2-3 weeks when I see them walking in the stadium, most of our guys just look normal, sweats, ain't nothing crazy. And look at that. They're showing up for business right now. I love it.
I kind of agreed with that too. Like, I'm fine with like a suit and a nice little tie.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're coming out with like, I don't know, Alexander McQueen, all the designer, I get it.
DK, you're gonna catch these hands if I see you in a kilt ever again in the streets, bro. Don't ever wear no kilt, man.
Yeah.
A leather kilt at that. No, I'm just kidding. He'll probably kick my ass, man.
No comment. All right, everybody. Well, amazing time with the group chat. Sorry for our technical difficulties. We were literally, before we even started recording, having a lot of issues as if we've never done this before. But thanks for holding on. Thanks for tuning in. Please comment, please like, please share. Week 15, here we come.
Let's do it. 1-0 here on out. Let's go, y'all.
Let's go. See ya.